Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be showing off the game that I've been working on, and the working title is currently Lore. There's a few different ideas I was thinking about, but generally it's a game of the lore of different periods of time, different belief systems, whether it's the Christian lore or the Greek, Roman mythology lore, the Egyptian lore about their gods, demons, devils, monsters, and the people of the culture and how they interact. So this is not your typical TCG. It's based upon the game Tetra Masters from Final Fantasy IX. Essentially, the board right here has what an ideal deck would look like. Consists of 30 cards when you start off. But some of these, like with the 8 directions, they're just too powerful, and you're not gonna find cards like that in play. And if you do, they're gonna be deities. They're gonna be fabled. So you're only gonna have one of them in your deck, if at all. So that's what an ideal deck kind of looks like. This is just a card from an earlier version that I made, and isn't really relevant, but it's kind of my art style. So the game, which I have a few different things here, just quickly. Essentially 2 9-tile zones here. There's 2 zones in the middle. These are considered the altars. You have a communal discard. You have communal zones over here, which part of the game, there's no spells. It's a creature feature, so they're all creature cards, but in your hand, creatures have certain abilities. If you, I say dab for short, but if you descend your creature, ascend your creature, or bury your creature, so there's 3 communal zones. You have Hell, obviously, if you descend a card from your hand. The Grave, if you bury a card from your hand. You have Heaven, if you ascend a card from your hand. And say this card here, it has a lot of mechanics you'll probably be familiar with. Dab, just descend, ascend, bury, so you can choose the zone that you want to either descend, ascend, or bury the creature. And certain creatures are only going to have abilities active while they're in a certain zone. So, Styx from Roman mythology is only going to, his ability is only active if he's in Hell. You can, dab him to any zone you want, but his ability is only going to be active in that zone. This says, so you have the card in your hand, and then, dab of your choice, the top card of your deck, and an opponent's deck. So you're going to place this in the zone you want, and then you get to place another card from your deck into the zone and your opponent's deck. So it has mechanics like that. But the gist, the way the game is played is like Terra Masters from Final Fantasy IX. So this is my starting hand. Well, my starting hand is going to be 5, and then I'll draw 2 cards. And essentially, you gain 2 faith at the beginning of your turn, and you get to draw 2 cards. So you have faith, Have to grab my faith counters here. You know, from a pile, you gain 2 faith. This is used to summon, you know, to deploy your creatures to the battle zone. You know, she has no faith. This creature, Hermes, he's actually 1 offering. You can only gather offerings if you control an altar, and that's either at the beginning or end of your turn, depending if you're player 1 or 2. You know, deities, fabled deities, these are only 1 in your deck. They're extremely powerful. They cost offerings, which you don't get for free. So you get your faith, and then say, I'll deploy Lily the Innocent. And of course, I want to capture the altar. So, you know, this is my control token. So I'm white. Then my opponent, she only has 1 power. She's super weak. She's not an attacker. She has an ability that allows her to avoid attacks, but, you know, we're not going to get into that. So say my opponent, his turn, he's going to gather some faith, and then he is going to play the Chosen Virgin, and he's playing black. So he's black. Now his creature attacks in these directions. My creature defends in these directions, so I can't defend against the attack. He would win anyways because he has she has 3 faith and she only has 1. So she's going to convert my creature over to her side. And then actually turn 1 you get to play player 2 plays 2 cards. But, you know, like Cyclops Berserker. Yeah, he's 4. He's got 5 attack directions. He does cost 1 faith to play, but, you know, he has an ability. He wins ties. So he's here. Player 2 controls that. Now it's my turn again. Player 1's turn. Player 1, well, I want to gain this, you know, gain my faith, and then I want to get control of this altar. So if I play this creature, then before it comes into play, I can add faith to it. So now instead of 3 faith, he's going to have 5. So 5 versus 4. I can't do 4-4. That would be a draw, but his creature would win because he has overpower, so he wins ties. So now 5. Excuse me. So this is my creature. I'm going to gain control of his creature. And, you know, and then player 1 on turn 2 gets to play 2 creatures. I have a Cyclops Taskmaster. Let's say I play him here again, you know, let's say I didn't have control of the altar. Since it's 4-on-4 and he can defend my attack, I'm going to give him 5. Let's say I don't defend him either. So my Cyclops Taskmaster, now that he's 5, he's going to beat the Berserker, and he can also attack Clotho, so he's going to capture Clotho too. And then you want to build up your territory on the map, and the player with that owns the most creatures at the end of the game is going to defeat their opponent. You know, essentially you're playing on, you know, the side of your deity, whether you have, you know, followers, which are going to get bonuses for the deity if you're playing them, because I didn't want to go along the faction route. I wanted to make every single card playable in every single deck. There's going to be drawbacks to not playing certain cards that are, you know, followers of certain deities, but then there's going to be wanderers who aren't aligned with any deity, and they just kind of they can help out any deck. Like here, the Chosen Virgin. Say she's in your beginning hand or anytime, and essentially you're gonna sacrifice her from your hand to wherever you want, heaven, hell, the grave. So you're gonna offer her as a burnt offering or sacrifice, however they do, in any deck, and that's going to gain you an offering, which is extremely powerful because throughout the game you're only getting each player is only getting like 8 offerings. And with the way that the mana curve or the faith curve is, and the offering curve, you really have to think about what you're going to play. There's cards that are free to play, but you really want their dab ability because that's where the power is. Impact, when it impacts the battlefield, you get to activate the ability. But some cards, their dab ability is just so powerful that if you're screwed and you don't have the resources, you're gonna have to play the card on the field, or else you're probably gonna lose the game if you lose a turn. So the costs are not expensive to play the cards, but you can boost them, and you really have to think about your strategy throughout the game, or you're not going to have, resource management is a huge part of it. There's still a lot of things going on that I'm trying to work out. I kind of I like the offering aspect of the altars, giving you offerings, and then you use the offerings to summon the most powerful beings, whether they're deities or maybe they're like kings and queens, and also your deities and your kings and queens, you can only use offerings to boost them. So you're not gonna slap down Gaia and then put like 10 faith on her to make her 1818. No. And she has preventive abilities from that also. And I'm not sure whether to stick with. I was thinking, you gain the offerings from the altars, possibly either faith or prayers. Instead of mana, everybody uses mana. It's mana is pretty cliche. And I actually enjoy most of the games. I enjoy a lot of games. They don't have mana, like Pox Nora. They have Nora instead of mana. I always thought that was kind of cool. So whether it costs a certain amount of prayers or faith to deploy your creatures, and then if they attack the other creatures, it was initially physical combat, and then you would capture the other creature, and then your opponent could free them. But if you convert them to the side of your deity, you control them, and I think that has a better flavor to it. Plus, you're not capturing if you don't own it, or freeing if you do own it. You're just converting the creature either way, whether it's one player converts it or you convert it. So that kind of simplifies terms. I just wanted to get this out here. I'm gonna make another video. I have a ton of different design questions and things I'm going over with. I haven't really. I have some art that I've started, but the game and the balance and the engineering and just the mechanics and trying to get everything down and fun and pretty much balanced and not broken and challenging is where I'm at right now, and the art will come along later. So if you have anything that you like, anything you dislike, any ideas This is definitely a work in progress. There's other videos on this channel. This game has gone through different, evolutions over the last year. And this is pretty much the final version. I have the sandbox. Now we're just gonna fill the sandbox up with some toys. All right, everybody, take it easy. Take it easy.